my name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. Today, we're talking about the new Givenchy Prisme Libre Loose Powder Blushes. And I picked up all 6 of the shades that are available in the UK right now, and they're not available in the US. I don't know whether they will be coming or not. You know, there's a chance that they'll come in 2022. I'm not really sure, but these, I really wanted to try them. And there are several retailers where you can order these and still get free shipping. So that's what I did. I used Feel Unique, and that was my first time ordering from them. And they have quite a few really nice brands there. I'm not affiliated. I don't have an affiliate link or anything for them, but just wanted to share that, you know, they seem to be a nice site to shop from. So the shipping takes a little while. I forget how long it took, 2 or 3 weeks for me to get my order, but there was free shipping and I was able to use a discount code on top of these. So it made them like such a great deal in my opinion. These are also available at other retailers such as Harrods. And you know, Harrods, if you purchase from them, you're gonna get that order in just a couple of days. So it kind of depends whether or not you wanna pay for the shipping and get it fast or not pay for shipping and get it slow. But there are some other retailers that carry these. The specific shades have been going in and out of stock a lot, so I'll leave several retailers listed down below in the description box if you're interested. And let's talk a little bit about this packaging first. First of all, this is one of the Prisme Libre loose powders. So just to show you the size difference here, see that? And you can see that we have a mirror lid on the blushes, which I actually find very useful to, use when I'm putting on my makeup. So you've got the typical Givenchy square container with the round insert. It does come with a little powder puff. You've got the little ribbon here to insert your finger, and then you can apply it this way. So I do have a demo showing you application with that. And then I also have demos using the brushes. So one of the brushes is going to be the Sonia G Cheek Pro, and the other one is the Sonia G Smooth Buffer. So you can see the difference in brush styles and how that applies. And before we get to that, let me just show you this. So you have the 4 quadrants with the blushes. One thing that I really wish they would make is like a little dial that you can turn. So you know, you guys remember like on like baby powder and things like that, or even certain spices, you've got the dial where you can turn it and you can block certain segments if you would like, or, you know, get like more flow and so forth. They need to put something like that on top of these things. But because of this puff, you can sort of do it manually. So if I just want to isolate colors, I'll take the puff and I will just make sure to apply pressure and cover the areas that I don't want to come out. And then I will dump what I want in the lid. Or if I'm using the puff, you know, that's another way to get the colors I want on the lid. So let me first cut to the demo with the puff, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about these. So I hope that was helpful. Now I'm gonna give you a little bit of product information and my thoughts on these items as we go through cheek swatches. And this is where I'll show you the application with the Sonia G Cheek Pro versus the Smooth Buffer, so you can see that. Then when we come back, we'll do some swatches and comparisons. According to Givenchy, these blushes are practical and portable. It's complete with an integrated powder puff and a mirror on the cap, making it perfect for on-the-go touch-ups. The key benefits of these blushes are 12-hour long wear luminous color, 4 complementary tones that blend beautifully and seamlessly for a tailor-made second skin-like finish. Fresh, vibrant colors for naturally flushed cheeks and a youthful complexion. Illuminates skin with a healthy glow. Sculpts cheeks and subtly defines face. Translucent, buildable color for mistake-proof application. There's a luminous matte finish, and these are easy to apply and an easy-to-carry format for on-the-go touch-ups. The breathable, comfortable formula, and there's a silky, soft, ultra-fine texture that fuses with the skin. A lot of claims, a lot of them kind of say the same thing, but I would have to say that I feel like for the most part, this is very accurate. I think it's a very beautiful blush. It looks beautiful and very natural looking on the skin. As you can see during these, cheek swatches, the lighter shades obviously, work very nicely with my skin tone, but even the darker shades I can get away with if I apply them more subtly. So with each of these cheek swatches, we're going in twice so you can kind of see how the color builds. And, you can get them more pigmented than what I did, but as we get to the darker shades, you'll see that there's definitely plenty of pigment there to accommodate some of the deeper skin tones. So for me, I really like having the soft, flushed look on my cheeks. I think these blushes do a great job of that. Now, as I mentioned, you can technically isolate these shades and, sometimes I can see that being useful. For the most part, I think it's too much trouble. So I like to just decant the powder into the lid and mix it all together. But again, if you want to isolate it, it technically is something that you could do. And I think that these shades are beautiful. So yes, I agree with the luminous matte finish. I think they look very natural on the skin. And I think they have a good range of shades to start with. You've got very natural looking shades on the skin as well as some brighter pops. And I'd love to see them come out with some more shades, some more adventurous shades, maybe for like holiday collections and things like that. But first, we need to see these available here in the US. So overall, my thoughts on these blushes, I personally really like them. These are 4 quadrants of 1.5 grams each, and so total 6 grams. And then we have a total net weight of 0.21 ounces. They are made in Italy and there's a 12-month or 1-year shelf life. And I just think that these are, not only is the packaging really beautiful and chic, I think the way they look on the skin is very sophisticated, yet it has that subtle luminosity to it that makes it look natural yet youthful. And I think these are a winner. I really, really like these. My personal favorites of these shades are probably going to be shades 1, 2, and 3. I think that they look the best on my skin tone, but I'm very happy that I have all 6 of them. And I also like being able to mix and match these. I think they're really nice. And one of the great things about having this as a loose powder is if you do have a shade that is too deep for you, all you need to do is mix in a little bit of another loose powder, like a translucent or, even a colored one if you want, to kind of dilute or change that color a little bit. So it's just so easy to accommodate if you want to lighten it up. So I personally think that, that's a really nice feature. I love the Givenchy Prisme Libre loose powders. I think they have a beautiful luminous matte finish like these. And I think that they are a great accompaniment to these blushes, especially if you do want to, lighten something up. Mixing in a little bit of one of those is a really nice option in my opinion. As for application of these, as I mentioned, I prefer to just mix all of the colors together. I think that's easier. And as you'll notice with the different blush brushes here, with the lighter shades versus the darker shades, the smooth buffer does act slightly differently. So for the most part, you are going to be able to get a softer look with the smooth buffer than if you are using, a fluffier brush here. And that's because it's really buffing it into your skin. If you were to finish that with some finishing powder, you can diffuse that even more, and it looks very seamless. As for which brush I prefer, I really like both applications. If I am working with something a little bit more intense, the buffer, I like to put it on with a regular brush first and then buff out the edges with the smooth buffer, because I want to make sure that that more pigmented shade is targeted. And with the smooth buffer being a little bit larger, it's a little bit harder to target it in a specific area without having a wide area of blush. So I like to put on the more pigmented ones with a smaller brush first and then kind of buff in the edges to get more of a softer diffuse look. With the lighter shades, you know, I like both applications equally. I think they both look great. They're both a little bit different, but you know, for my coloring, I think both of them are good options. As for using the puff, it's something that can definitely be done. I think it looks fine, but it's just not my personal preference. I'm not a puff person anyway because I don't like washing them. I don't like cleaning them. But you know, I think that for on-the-go portability, if you're traveling or something, you know, it is a good option. And I have to say, I really like having the mirror on the top because that's one of the things I always forget is the mirror. So I do like it when palettes and products incorporate a mirror when possible. So I hope that was helpful. One other thing I wanted to note is you can see the Givenchy logo on each of these. They are color coded with the color of the blush. So we're going to do some swatches now. So this is shade number 1, Mousseline Lilas. And you know, it looks shocking, but it's really not. One of the great things about these powders is really just that they're incorporating different undertones in these quadrants. So although Lilas is typically a cool shade and this overall is going to read very cool tone, you can see that you've got warmer and cooler versions of the lighter and deeper shades. And that's something that really helps it work more for a wider variety of people. Overall though, this shade is cool. So if you have overly warm tones in your skin, this is probably not one that you're going to like, but you know, it does help accommodate a wider range than if it were just totally cool. So because it is hard to swatch each of the shades separately, I'm just going to mix them because I think most people are probably going to apply it that way as well. So here is number 1, Mousseline Lilas. And let's see here, just do a little swatch there so you can see it a little bit softer. This one here is number 2, Taffetas Rose, and this is what I have on my cheeks today. And this one you can see is going to be definitely warmer. It is a true rose shade. Again though, you still have cooler and warmer versions of each of the depths essentially. But this one is going to be a more neutral palette with a little bit more warmth. So there's Taffetas Rose. Let's just make a little swatch here. This one here is number 3, Wall Coral. And in the pot or container, this looks like straight up orange, but you can see putting it on the skin how nicely it blends out, and it actually ends up looking much more peach in my opinion than a true coral. In my opinion, a true coral is going to have more pink in it than this does. It's really more like an equal mix of pink and orange, whereas this definitely has more orange in it. And I think it's a really beautiful shade, and on the cheeks it actually looks very, very natural. It gives you this great sun-kissed look. It's one of my favorite shades, but I would consider it more of a deeper peach than a true coral in my opinion. And yeah, so this one is technically going to be neutral leaning warm. Okay, and number 4, we have Organza Sienna. And I think this one is very beautiful. And for those of you who are looking for something with a little bit more browns and earthy tones in it, I think this is a fantastic option here. So here's Organza Sienna. So you can see that there is going to be some like reddish tones in here as well, but it's really going to be more of like that clay mixed with a little bit of cocoa and a touch of red. So I think it's a very unique shade. Actually, the first thing that it made me think of is the Pat McGrath Paradise Venus. So we're going to take a look at that one during our comparisons. And overall, in regards to undertones of this one, I would say that this one is pretty much neutral. And if it had to lean a little bit one way, maybe slightly cooler, but it's really pretty much smack dab in the middle of that spectrum. This one here is another one of my favorites. It is more vibrant, but I love the tones of this. This is number 5, Popeline Violine. So this one has these like richer, redder purples. So these are going to be warmer toned violets. It's actually more of a really deep rose shade. Look at that. So it's kind of like a berry. And this one actually, you know, for a berry shade, it's warm tone, but overall it is slightly cool in tone. That being said, if you are somebody with warmer tone skin and you've always wanted to wear a berry and you haven't been able to find one that looks good, this one might be one that works for you. So I think it's a really beautiful shade, and the undertones on all of these are really close to neutral in the spectrum. So when I'm talking about cool versus warm, it's just a slight nod to one direction. And then number 6, Flanelle Ruby. And this one, I mean, you can see you've got more of these orangey coral shades, this terracotta and like kind of brick red in here. It's a really beautiful, deeper tone shade here. Look at that. I mean, that is like a soft brick red. I would love this in a lipstick for me personally, but you can see that this one does lean warmer in tone. I think all 6 of these shades are stunning and they're gorgeous. I love the versatility of these blushes. And it's taken me a while to do this review. I've been testing these for several weeks now, and I've tested all of the colors multiple times. And honestly, I've been trying to narrow down like a favorite or something, but they're just really all that beautiful. So I really like these. So for comparisons, let's go ahead and start off with some of the Pat McGrath shades. This one here is Paradise Venus, and let's go ahead and take a look at that. We're gonna put that one right here. So that's Paradise Venus. You can see how much deeper it is, but tones, you know, I do feel like the mix of shades in there is pretty similar. Then I also want to take a look at Desert Orchid. And again, this one is going to be lighter. We're going to put that one right on the other side there. You can see that that one is going to have more brown in it. And then let's take a look at Nude Venus as well. So Nude Venus, let's put that one right here. So again, for reference, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's Cherish. So for Cherish, we're going to put that one right here by number 5. You can see that it is going to be warmer in tone. Cherish is warmer. This one here is Love Struck, which we're also going to look at with number 5. Let's put that one right here in the back. And the tones of these are going to be much more similar. So number 5 from the Givenchy and Love Struck from Pat McGrath. And last up, we have Electric Bloom. We're gonna put this one actually down here with the ruby. And this one's really more of a brighter coral shade, but you can see that this coral here, the Voile Coral from Givenchy, is much more peach in comparison. And yeah, it doesn't quite have a match here. This one here is Sisley number 1 Pink Peony. This is in the Vito blush line. We're gonna put this one right here so you can see that. That's gonna be closest to the Givenchy number 2. But you can see that the Sisley is still gonna be just slightly, it has a little bit more warmth to it. There's like a little peachiness to it compared to the Givenchy. Okay, this one is Sisley number 3 Coral. We're gonna look at that one right here with the Givenchy number 3 Coral, which again, you can see that the Sisley is going to be a bit more red than the Givenchy. And then let's take a look at Sisley number 5, Rosewood. We're gonna put this one right down here at the bottom. Doesn't quite go. This one here is the Makeup by Mario Creamy Peach shade. We're gonna compare this to the Givenchy number 3 Coral. Stick that right there. You can see that the Mario is a little bit more nude. There's a little bit more brown in there. And let's take a look at the Dior Rosy Glow blush. And this is the original one. We're gonna put this right in between 1 and 2. This, blush doesn't swatch super well because it is so light, but you can see that tones is really a mix of the Givenchy 1 and 2. Moving on to some Surratt shades. Now this one is shimmery. This is Barba Papa. And the Givenchy is not shimmery, but I wanted to show you the tones of this. This is probably more similar to, well, it's really a cross between 1 and 2 as well, but it's just more pigmented and shimmery. This one here is Surratt Guimauve. And let's put that one right, well, let's put that right here above number 1. That's really close. So Surratt Guimauve is very similar to the Givenchy number 1. I mean, I can barely see the difference between them. The Givenchy is just very slightly cooler in tone. It has like a little bit more lavender mixed into it. This is Surratt Parfait. We're gonna look at that with the peach shade, which is right here. Parfait, you can see, has a little bit more red in it. This is the Givenchy peach, or coral rather. This is Surratt Peau de Pêche, and we're gonna actually put this one down here. This is the number 6. You can see that the tones don't quite match on that, but it's also not gonna match with the peach, or the coral as well. And one last comparison, this is Classique from Surratt. We're gonna put this one down here at the bottom. And this is number 5 and number 6, number 5 is this one here, the long one, and number 6 from Givenchy compared with this here. So that is it for my comparisons. I hope they were helpful. Overall, I think that the Givenchy blushes are great. However, I've talked a lot about the pros because I really love them, but there are a couple of cons to these as well, in my opinion. One of them is the square packaging, which looks very nice. I love the way it looks, but it does get messy. If you don't completely clean out what you put in the lid, you do get powder here on the edges. And I just find it, more challenging to screw on with the square container compared to the, like a round container. The other con that I have with these is just the fact that it's a little bit messy with application as well because it is a loose powder. So, I mean, it looks beautiful going on, but you could see when I'm putting on the blush in the cheek swatches, you could see how much powder dust there is. So there is a little bit of a mess with this. Now, it's not like I have like a ton of powder like in front of me on my desk or anything like that, unless you spill, of course. But it's just something to note that it does kind of poof up into the air a little bit. Those are really the only cons other than the fact that they're not available in the US. So I think that these are a fantastic product. I definitely recommend these. Again, I think they're very versatile because you can always mix and match these very easily. You can, mix them with some loose powder if you want to lighten it up, or if you want to add some shimmer, use a little bit of highlight with it. A loose highlight, if you've got a broken one, you can mix that up, put that in a container, and you can use that as an add-in. So I think there are a lot of options with these, and I really like that. One other thing to note with things like these is because you are mixing these shades and you're not necessarily, getting the exact same amount of each color out, it is always going to be slightly unique every time you apply this. So I personally like that. But I know that can also drive some people crazy. So it kind of depends what you like. I I love mixing colors. I like making, you know, new combinations and so forth. So one of the things I like to do is just make sure that I decant enough into the lid for both cheeks at the same time so that I do end up with the same color on both cheeks. But I do like, you know, mixing and matching. Honestly, even if you didn't, if you're just regularly decanting a little powder in there and you're not like trying to, you know, specify shades and cover some and so forth, you're going to end up, it's going to look like the same on the cheeks. It's such a subtle difference, you know? So just something to note there. You don't have to be super cautious with this. And I hope this was helpful. So thank you so much. Oh my goodness, I just remembered one last one. Hold on. Let's just take a look at the Guerlain Pink Pearls, because I do think, I think this is the most similar in style. This is really hard to get the actual product up here. Hold on. So here is Pink Pearl. We'll just put this here. Okay, so here's this, and I would say color-wise, it doesn't match with these. 1 and 2 are definitely going to be too cool. I would think that the closest would actually be a dilution of number 6 in tone. So that would be my guess, or number 4. So Givenchy number 4 or number 6 is probably going to be the closest to that. Neither of them are going to be an exact match. And another thing to know, just like with the loose powders, you know, when you are using pearls like this, you are going to get a unique shade every time as well. But I think it's beautiful. And these obviously have some shimmer, whereas the Givenchy really doesn't. So I hope all of that was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I will see you very soon. So have a great day.